quiet in here. Jeffrey. It's a little bastard. Jesus! Oh, God. All right. This is a little bit formulaic, you know. Hey guys, as I've made no secret in my previous videos, I really love the Conjuring universe. I think that James Wan is an amazing horror director. All this goes without saying. And as a universe, so far, it's pretty good. You know, you got The Conjuring, which is epic. You got The Conjuring 2, which is not as scary, but is like really good. In fact, possibly better as far as like the characters are concerned. Then you have the original Annabelle, which was kind of, it was like okay. It was kind of like your average horror movie, and I think that they kind of cheesed out at the end. I think they really should have gone for the jugular, and they didn't. However, Annabelle Creation was actually really, really good. And not only was it good, it was so good that it actually made me want to go back and watch the first Annabelle, like back to back. And when you do watch them back to back, it's pretty cool. You know, but then you have The Nun. Now, fortunately, I'd heard plenty of reviews beforehand, including some reviews that I really trust, and not just people that hate movies who said that it was very formulaic, yada yada. If I'm being honest, the movie started out pretty awesome. The opening was really scary, and it gave me kind of like if any of you have seen that movie, The Sentinel from 1978, it's got like Chris Sarandon and Burgess Meredith and a couple people, and it's about this hotel that literally has the gates of hell inside of it, and it says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." But anyways, there's this, you know, room, like a forbidden room in a convent or whatever, or at least that's what we assume. And yeah, it says something similar, like God ends here, and you know, there's two nuns, and one nun goes in there and then just like screams and gets friggin' dragged into the shadows, and then the other nun commits suicide. But there's a priest that's sent to investigate, and he brings the nun, or the sister, who is supposed to take the place of the younger nun who died, but she hasn't taken her vows yet. And that's sort of like, it's almost kind of like, oh, virgin blood or whatever. Actually, I guess not really. I guess like a nun's blood would be virgin blood. Am I getting this confused? What I mean is, it leaves her kind of like open to attack. She doesn't have that like grace of God in her, so it's sort of like, oh, an aspiring nun who we can corrupt. So they get to the place, and not for nothing, the movie starts out pretty creepy. They have the body of the nun in the ice box, and the body's sitting up instead of laying down the way the guy had it, and the blood that's on the front like stoop from where the crows started eating her, it hasn't like coagulated at all. It's like still wet, and there's just all this creepy thing. There's a Mother Superior whose face you can't see because she's just got this like black cloak over, and she talks with like a really eerie voice. And even the character of the nun who hasn't taken her vows yet, she's a really good character, because you see her at the beginning when they introduce her character, she's talking to a bunch of kids, and they have like some dinosaur action figures, and the kids are basically saying like, well, the Mother Superior said that the devil put the dinosaur bones here to you know, bring us to hell so that we wouldn't believe in God. And the sister basically says like, well, you know, it's possible that God created the dinosaurs too. I mean, why not? You know, and it's like a very idealistic woman for considering she's in a nunnery in the 1950s, but still, it's like, okay, all right, I like this character. I can follow her into hell. And even the priest, he's got this cool backstory about this exorcism that he performed on a boy, and the boy dies, yada, yada. So far, so good. And a lot of the things that they set up for, really creepy. And they got the movie on a good, creepy, kind of subtle roll. And then it just kind of deteriorates. You got a couple jump scares that are passable. When the movie first started to kind of wear on me, it was the scene in the graveyard where the priest sees a spirit or whatever, demon, that looks like, takes the form of the boy that he tried to exorcise. And the boy like leans forward, and this hideous CGI snake comes pouring out of the kid's mouth. And I mean, I will say that James Wan opened the door for that kind of thing to happen, because in The Conjuring 2, The Crooked Man, arguably felt a little bit out of place, but it was such a small part of the movie and it was pretty creepy. That, and here's the other thing. James Wan knows how to set up a scare. James Wan is a horror director for seasoned horror fans. For people who are going to watch a movie and they're going to be like, okay, he's going to check the mirror, now he's checking behind him, now he's going to check back at the mirror. Oh, there it is. You know, like the people who know what's coming up when it's coming up, that is who James Wan caters to. And his scares are creative. And the great thing about it is it isn't just jump scares. It's not just one after the other, after the other, after the other. He takes his time. It's very well crafted. And sometimes something builds up. Like it's going to be this huge jump scare. And then nothing happens. And you're just sort of like, oh, James Wan, you bastard. It's a sign of a great horror director. And then, and the parts that got me and my friends, who very rarely jump at movies, are the scenes that come out of like absolute nowhere. Lorraine Warren is taking a sheet off the damn line and a wind current blows it away and all of a sudden, poof, like it hit a person. That's creepy. It came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting it. Nobody could have possibly expected it. It was brilliant. The thing is, a lot of directors, they use like a formula. There's literally like a formula. Looking here, looking there, looking back. Ah, there it is. Like, you know, it's been done so many times. And to simply rely on that is very repetitious after a certain point, and that's kind of what happened to The Nun, because after that graveyard scene, or shortly thereafter, it was just setup after setup after setup. Nun is walking down a dark hallway, something creepy music is playing, a door creaks open. Next scene, the priest is in a hallway and he's walking and there's creepy music and something creaks and all of a sudden something's around the corner. It's like literally the entire second half of the movie is just cheap ass jump scares. That's kind of a bummer because, you know, like Annabelle, The Nun is kind of like a horror face of this era. People are going to look back and be like, oh, wow, that was a thing of the time. And then they're going to watch the movie and they're going to be kind of, you know. I hear that they're working on a second one, which, given how the second Annabelle movie came out, I'm not opposed to. I mean, I would like to see them get it right, because The Nun was legitimately creepy in The Conjuring 2. And I would like to see it's Valak the Defiler's story done right. And considering the fact that the movie takes place, like, way the hell back in the 1950s, they could easily do some other thing before it met the Warrens. This is a bit of an upset. I mean, I've definitely seen worse horror movies, but of the entire Conjuring franchise so far, I would say that The Nun is hands down the weakest link. But here's hoping for some good horror movies in 2019. All right, guys, take it easy.